So as we are leaving October and heading into November, today we need to talk about what are we going to plant this November, how did we do in October, and some tips and things to think about as we go through the November month. Outside, and now I'm coming under the inside of this tunnel trying to find all the Puerto Rican black beans because they are very good at ooh, this one popped open. Ooh, and it has dropped beans. So if you guys remember all of this from the black bean, this is one plant. So I really don't want beans dropping everywhere because I'm never going to be able to grow anything else on this arch if I just have Puerto Rican black beans. I mean, I'll have a lot of black beans, which is great, but I would like to grow other things too from time to time. So I'm just going through under, over, and surveying. I am finding though some loofahs up here, which aren't really growing great, but you know, whatever. I am getting bit up by whatever is in these black bean plants and it's driving me nuts. feeling about October? I kind of have some mixed feelings right now about my October harvest. Because without looking at the previous years, you know, I was like, you know what, we've got some new things happening. I felt like I was better about getting stuff started for fall. And then we had our hiccups because of the hurricane. But I had more stuff like getting going. So I felt like I'm in a much better place this year than I've been in the previous years. But when I compared it to the previous 2 years' numbers, I was like, huh, they have much better like pounds. Now the only thing is I don't have the detail in my, you know, because I didn't have a good tracker for last year. So I don't really know what drove October's pounds. So let's get into what happened in October. So in 2020, we harvested 64 pounds. In 2021, we harvested 59 pounds. And here we are in 2022, and we only harvested 6 pounds. So when I look at October from like a weather, kind of what's going on in Florida perspective, there's kind of two main things that would kind of shift and challenge your October harvest this year. Number one, Hurricane Ian. Hurricane Ian was the absolute last weekend of September. And we basically, I think if I remember right, like I was basically cleaning up my yard the last day of September or the first day of October. It was right there at the transition. And we know a lot of plants got just battered, bashed, smushed, crushed, all the bad words, right? Like they just weren't having it. So that was one thing. And the other thing is then because of Hurricane Ian, we got a cold snap that was much earlier than we've typically gotten them. We can get cooler in October. In my 30-something years of living here in Florida, it's just not common to have a cold snap like we did. And it wasn't that cold like in central South Florida. I know like central North Florida, we have people getting into the 40 degrees. And I think that's going to be a thing when it comes to our warm weather crops. Our warm weather crops are like, ooh, they are not fans of that weather. When I think about why were my crop numbers so different this year versus last year is I would have been harvesting hot weather crops in October still. So things like sweet potatoes, bananas, and papayas. I can tell you with my papayas, they aborted a bunch of their papayas when they fell down. And I know that they're not big fans of cold weather. Bananas are not big fans of cold weather. And looking at these pounds and just knowing kind of the variety of stuff that I used to be able to harvest, I know that all these plants were kind of like, no, not fans of the weather in October / late September. So if you're seeing a dip in your numbers in October, not surprising. Let's not be surprised because of Hurricane Ian and the cold weather. So let me know in the comments below, how did you feel your October harvest did? Are they on track with what you typically have gotten, or are you seeing some differences because of some of the weather changes? Or do you feel like something else was going on? Let me know, because I'm always really curious, because you know what happens in my garden is not always the same, and when we look at everybody, we can kind of start figuring out what's like a Florida thing versus like a us thing that we need to adjust. So when it came to my October harvest numbers, we got about 2 pounds of loofah, we got about a pound of dry beans from the Puerto Rican black beans. I got just under 2 pounds of peppers, both jalapeno and cubanelles, a little bit of green onions, and anything else? I don't know. Then we got about half a pound of lettuce, which for lettuce, that means it's a lot of lettuce. So kind of a little bit of this and that, and you kind of see we're kind of transitioning out of the warm weather crops, kind of the hot weather crops are kind of giving my final thing. And when we talk hot weather crops, right, we're talking about things like our loofahs and our Puerto Rican black beans, sweet potatoes, stuff like that. So those are going to be kind of wrapping up now. So observations from my October harvest. 1, the cubanelles that got pruned did way better at producing than the one that I did not prune. So our lesson learned this year is that when it comes to peppers, if you have plants that are doing well and they made it through the summer and you want them to start producing again as we head into fall, giving them a pretty decent prune, good idea. It definitely caused them to buck up and start flowering and do a lot more than the one that I didn't really prune. So lesson learned there. 2, if you have a lot of flowers on a transplant like that jalapeno, it produced a lot. While I spent a lot of money on that, it's technically paid for itself with the amount of jalapenos that I got off of it. So it was expensive, ridiculously expensive from Home Depot or Lowe's, whichever one I bought it from, but it is still cheaper than buying a bunch of jalapenos from Publix. So, you know, consider. Another thing I learned in October when it came to loofahs, because we had our loofah harvest from September, is if the loofah's zucchini size, then you can use it like a zucchini. The ones that were bigger, when Ben and I tried to use them in dishes, what we found is those would have worked better in some of the Asian like stir-fry dishes that we found. But because it's so spongy in the middle, right, because it's heading towards becoming like a literal loofah sponge, it's just doesn't, the inner part doesn't function like a zucchini anymore, but the outer part does. So you want to get them, so my trick now is zucchini size, use as a zucchini, medium size like this, you know, use them for something else, maybe like an Asian stir-fry dish. There seem to be way more dishes from out of like Southeast Asia that we've got potential for. But because of like all the birthdays that I've got going on now, we did not do a good job of using those medium big ones, but now I kind of know for the future. So all the big ones that are left on the trellis, I'm going to let those go to become sponges because I want to try this whole sponge thing. And if you remember when I was buying those starts in September, I actually was really skeptical that lettuce was going to work out. The lettuce is actually doing really well. So you know what? Noted in September, certain varieties of lettuce will do okay. Now, I don't know if it was like helped along by the cooler weather, because I did notice things like the spinach seeds that I put in the middle of September got hit by pests pretty hard before the hurricane even came. So now let's talk a little bit about what we should be considering growing for the month of November. So we're in this transition period between where we had done warm weather crops and we're heading into the cold weather crops. And especially South Florida and Central Florida, we're really still in warm weather. But many of our warm weather crops would not have the time to get all the way to like tomatoes and peppers and eggplants. If you planted them from seed today, they wouldn't make it in time before we really get the cold snaps. So if you do seed transplants and you're just really feeling adventurous and want to gamble with the weather, go for it. But really at this point, we're moving into transition crops and we're moving into cold weather crops. So when I talk about transition crops, the two that I kind of consider like they kind of have the sweet spot as we transition between seasons is spinach and strawberries. And strawberries, everybody. And I'll show you my strawberries. Heck yeah, they're already flowering. What? Can't even believe it. And the other thing is that even though this is November and it's technically fall, it's not technically, it is fall. But if you're seed starting, now is the time to start or continue doing cold weather crops. So this is things like your carrots, your onions, beets, radishes, all your brassicas, and brassicas would be things like cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts. Do all that. Also great time of year for lettuce. So if you're a big lettuce eater, if you're a big salad eater, Ben and I are back into eating lots and lots of lettuce again. So, you know, having our bed of lettuce is very helpful. And it's November. So pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. Because here's the thing. I get this question all year round, and when can I grow potatoes? Now. Now you can start growing potatoes. Not in the spring, not in the summer, not in the early fall. Now you can start growing potatoes. For all the people who have been watching the Northerners, longing to grow different varieties of potatoes. Now, I have never grown potatoes, but this is just me having done the research just so I can do the friendly reminder. Potatoes. If you want potatoes, now this is the beginning of the season for potatoes. And fun thing to consider, right? If you are wrapping up your sweet potato harvest, right? Like, so if you have a sweet potato bed and you've been like, oh, what am I going to go in succession plant? And you're going to do a bunch of these cold weather crops. You know, with the timing I was looking at, if you had done sweet potatoes through the summer and now they're kind of wrapping up as we end fall, this would be like, you could use that bed as like a sweet potato bed to a potato bed. Maybe not a great idea from a pest perspective, but from a timing perspective, something to think about. You may need to freshen it up and do stuff, but just something to consider. Sweet potatoes to potatoes, but it's potato time. We are officially in November and it's time for tips for vegetable gardening for November. And here's what we need to be thinking about. 1, November is drier, like a lot drier. Where we had like the sudden onslaught of monsoons in September, and we had some, of course, because of the hurricane, we kind of had some, I don't know, October was October. It was very spooky. But here we are in November, we are officially in the dry season. So while we will get rain, we may only get like an inch or two in this month. We're hitting the time where like the monsoon stuff, probably not happening. Unless we get a hurricane, then, you know, whatever. Because hurricane season goes to the end of the month. Maybe that's something we need to add to like the whole, like when we're doing our Thanksgiving and we're like, what are things we're thankful for? If you make it to Thanksgiving and you didn't get hit by a hurricane, be thankful. That should be on every Floridian's list every year because that's the end of the hurricane season. But if we don't get any tropical storms or hurricanes, then this is a very dry month. So what that means for you is that you need to be paying attention to watering your plants. So if you just planted seeds, if you've got crops that are already going, like I've got tomatoes and peppers and stuff like that, like you need to pay attention to irrigation, because unlike summer, the environment is only going to give you so much, and that's going to be what it is. So if you have irrigation and you've left it off through most of the season, like make sure it's back on and it's working, because we are in the dry season, and the dry season is going to last all like the next 6 months. So we got a ways to go now. The other thing to be thinking about is if you followed my tips from last month and you got some cold weather crops going, a thing to think about for this month is succession planting. So the nice thing about the cold weather crops is the list that I'm giving you, other than like the spinach and the strawberries, everything else you can basically plant throughout the season. So things like your onions, your carrots, beets, what are those things over there? Radishes, lettuces, like you can start planting them. So every 2-4 weeks, right? You can start putting it. Some people do them every week. I don't know. I'm not a great succession planter. I'm just telling you, basically from now all the way into like February, these crops you can be planting. So I would be considering, like I got carrots started over there at the end of September, and I just put some carrots over there because my little peanut wanted to go and do it. And so, but I'm going to come back through in this bed in like the next couple weeks, and I'm going to put some more seeds in, because succession planting. So succession planting, consider. So my third tip for you guys, don't forget your garden. We are in November, and November is really when I feel like the holiday season starts to really ramp up, and it is super easy to totally forget your garden, because you've got holiday parties and you're traveling to see family for Thanksgiving, and you're starting to prep Christmas lists. And at the very end of November, you're going to start putting up decorations, or maybe you're going to be like me and you're going to start putting them up in early November, because you know what, it's just one of those years and we just want to have decorations up early. Sometimes we're all in the fields and but it's distracting and it takes time away from the garden, and it can become very easy to be like, whoopsies, it's been like weeks since I've really paid attention to my garden, and things have gotten out of control, or died, or it didn't get watered, or whatever has happened. So November, do not forget your garden. This is advice to myself. I think I've mentioned it before, that of my family, grandparents, parents, kids, there are 8 birthdays that I go through, and we go through them in less than 60 days, from mid-October to mid-December. So add that on top of all the, like, I don't even know how many trunk or treats I went to in the last couple weeks. There's a lot going on, and it really, even me personally, I was like, ooh, I haven't walked in my garden in like a good week and a half. I really need to get out there and like see what's going on. So give yourself a friendly reminder to at least get out there once a week and just check on stuff. Don't let your plants die. You put a lot of work into it. You've done a lot of work throughout this year to just let it kind of like bail out on you right now. So that's my friendly reminder. So as we're getting close to the end of the year, I mean, I'm really, really excited about where we're going in the future. And one of the things is that, first off, can I thank everyone who was like really hyping me up? Because I announced that I've been working on a book about basics of Florida gardening. And I really appreciated how many of you were super, super excited about that. It's not going to be coming out until like early next year. I've been working on it for months and months already, but based on what my coach, who actually knows how to publish books, and it'll be an actual physical book, he said like, yeah, early next year will be a realistic to get through the entire process. But he's also helping me with things to do differently for the planner. And one of the big things was so that we could actually have it where you guys could buy it as a physical book, unlike this year where it was only a digital and then you would have to pay someone else to print it. So I'm really excited that we were able to figure that out. And I am really, really excited because I was able to pull together a lot of like the tips and reminders that I put in videos into the 2023 planner. So I feel like, one, for me, it'll make videos easier because I won't be like, where's this note? Where's this note? It's in like a notebook from 3 years ago and stuff like that. I actually pulled it all together so that it's going to all be in one place. And this is based off of, one, me using the planner throughout the year, but also from all the people. Like, I cannot even believe how many bought the 2022 planner. I am so appreciative. Ben is so appreciative too. We were both so appreciative of all the people who took a chance on our planner. And I really appreciate all the people who gave feedback, because we have taken so much of that feedback. And I feel like the planner for next year is going to be awesome. I am hoping to get it done so that we will have it out. Well, for sure, I've been very much with the people that I'm working with, like, by the end of the year, so that those who want to have it for January 1st, like, I know it's not the big gardening season, but if you wanted it for January 1st, it would be out. But exact release date, I don't know yet, because it's a new process because it's not going to be a digital copy, and I just don't know all the pieces and how long it's taking. So I just want to give you guys a heads up. So if you are interested in getting the 2023 planner and you want to get updates, one, watch out for the community posts. I'll keep you guys updated there. Two, you can always get the free seasonal gardening calendar on what to plant and when to plant it at www.wildfloridian.net/calendar. That's totally free. It gives you ideas for every season, and it will put you on the email list so that when this is ready for 2023, you'll get more specific updates. Plus, I'll try to give you an update here once I actually know what's going on, but I don't know what's going on yet, so there you go. So let's take a really quick tour around the garden, see what's growing, see what things we might expect for the month of November from a harvest perspective, / you can compare notes to what you're growing and see like, hey, is my plant doing better? Is my plant doing worse? Or like just where are we at? I feel like it's really good to compare notes. So let's get going around. All right, we will get started at this end. So one of the first things that I think we'll be harvesting in November, I thought we would get some in October, but I'm thinking because we got really stressed out, our papaya, by falling over, that it's just really not putting the energy to finishing these papayas, because this is pretty big. But what I noticed is that all the papayas in this section, which were pretty new, it went and aborted. Like I can see them. Here's some papaya aborted on the ground. More papaya. But then now it looks like that it's resettled, it's reflowering, and you can see new papayas coming in, and these look really healthy. So I think the plant was making some choices about what it was going to put its energy towards. So where I thought I was going to get a few papayas in October, we got 0. Oh, Mr. Cliff, super sweet. He wanted to return I staked up some plants while we hurricane stuff. You know, y'all saw. Okay, over here, we got some carrots started. My baby boy wanted to start some of the rainbow carrots. So we started a whole bunch in here, and we actually got a really good propagation rate. I think I did a good job with him. So looking forward to some more carrots over here. Pumpkins have been bouncing back over and over again. So I've been starting to see them flower. Not these ones, but ones up yonder way. So I think we may get another round of pumpkins before the end of the year, but maybe not. But what I am very excited to go and try for the very first time is these are roselle. And I am so excited to try these out. I have never, ever had roselle before. Oh, hi, butterfly. And I am been looking up and reading up about these things. So any tips from those who have actually grown it? Very excited. Would like to learn more. Yes, I'm excited about that. Look at this, the corn. The corn is doing so good. One of the key differences about what I did with the corn this time, and I feel like I got such a good germination rate. I forget who gave me the tip, but thank you. I soaked these for about 48 hours, maybe 72 hours. It was a long time. I think because of the hurricane, I kind of got thrown off when I put them in. But I soaked them for over 24, 48 hours, and they got softer, and then I planted them. And we have had such a good success rate with them coming up. So that is one of my tips for y'all. If you haven't, it's not time for corn yet, but when we get back around to corn, soak them for a couple days before you put them in the ground. Big difference. I just feel like these are doing so well. Also, the fact that I have like a few of these roselles are going, I'm very excited for. So that's cool. Next year I would do this much more organized. Also, quick update, this bed, the VEGEGA bed, made its way through the entire summer, no rust. And I have been inspecting like all these bolt points for rust because those beds have rusted so bad. Do not get these ones. The only ones I left linked now in any of my videos, I took all these links out. Don't get those. This is done excellent. I am actually excited because we're going to get some more of these beds and expand some raised bed stuff next year. Not right now. But I would highly recommend this. This one has done so well. And this stuff on the other beds totally falls off and is in my way, but this has stayed on perfectly the whole season and it went through everything. So this is a really good bed. This is VEGEGA. Link below. You can get 10% off with a code if you would like to get one. And the reason I bring that up is because we're getting into Christmas lists, and this may be something you want to have like on your Christmas list. 1, 2, we're heading into the cooler weather, and if you want to build stuff, this would be the time to do it. When we get past all the heat, don't be like me. Every year, I'm terrible. I always tell you guys like, wait till the cool seasons, do your big projects. And then if you actually watch my videos, when did I put in trellises? When was I building this bed? When do I do all the mulch? I do it in like August every year. So you should not be like me in this case. And actually the timing of when I did these ones was like January, February, which was actually smart. So consider for your Christmas list, get yourself a raised bed and make it more tidy, like neat, nice. That's one of the things though. This coming year, one of my goals, make things tidier. I feel like it got a little too wild for this wild Floridian. Now I'm kind of like, no, I kind of pull it back together. Okay, onward with the tour. So when it comes to my trellises, it looks like my Puerto Rican black beans are officially heading out. And the loofah also looks like it's starting to head out too. So, and that is okay because I've got a lot of it. So we still have more loofahs hanging on down here. These ones I'm gonna let go and become sponges. So I got like 1 there, 2 there, 3 there. Oh, I probably should have brought that one in. I don't know, whatever. We'll figure out what to do with that one. So I've got a few more here. I've got one down here, which is already starting to yellow, so it's gonna dry out. Got another one back there, another one hanging right there. I think that's enough like loofah sponges for me for the year. I felt a little overwhelmed by this crop because it was so different and new. I didn't know. So I think next year, well, how many did I plant? I only planted like 2 plants, and then I think I threw some seeds over there. But I've only had 2 plants, and they've produced a lot. Like they definitely do. They grow. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to have a good think about what I want to do next year. Maybe only do 1. You know what I might do next year is just do like 1 on one side and then do like the black beans on the other side, because I just felt like both of them competing with each other. It was hard to see. It was just hard to see. It was hard to see the loofahs. It was hard to see the black beans. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe do 1 on one side and 1 on the other. Speaking of the black beans, they have gone crazy. Also, like, can we look at this vine right here? This is the Puerto Rican black bean vine. I planted these, what, June? This thing is crazy big. And one on the other side's the same way. So Puerto Rican black beans definitely make a lot of black beans, but they're since they're heading out, I'm probably going to switch over to the my Cherokee ones, my Cherokee Trail Tiers that I got from Seed Savers. So I'll switch back to those ones now because that were kind of like cooling down. Now over in our pepper bed, we saw our jalapenos did really well, and our green peppers are growing pretty well too. The big thing was the piri-piris that my in-laws gave me. I think every single one of them died. Well, maybe one's alive there. I don't know. Something's alive. What is that? Is that the piri-piri? Maybe. Hasn't flowered or produced anything. And this one died. This one died. But these other peppers are doing good. And these peppers are doing good. And then, like I talked about with the cubanelles definitely did a good job producing. And then my eggplants, they're doing good. Look at them. They look cute. They're doing their thing. So hopefully we get some eggplants from those. Over here, the tomatoes. Look at this. Tomatoes are doing really well. So there's that cherry one. I forget what it was called. Bing. I think it was the cherry Bing one. So this one's only going to be like a small shrubby thing. And then we have, oh, good thing this was my retrying to do Bonnie Original. Give it a second chance. So we've got some Romas here, Bonnie Originals. I'm not really sure what, that's a weed, that's a dandelion. What's this one? Heat Master. So all these plants have looked very healthy, very happy. Well, this one says Celebrity. Where is it? I didn't even notice. This says Celebrity. Oh, here it is. That's it? That's sad. Okay. Interesting. Okay, and then we got more Heat Masters. So it looks like all the tomatoes are doing pretty good over here. So overall, the health of the tomatoes looks really good. They haven't put any flowers or anything else on for me, so who knows how well they actually do. You can see the pumpkins have been flowering again. Oh, it looks like we had a female and it boarded it, but that's okay. It's feeling good enough for it to start trying to do something again. And then here in the middle, my weeds are taking over. This is Everglades tomatoes. They are everywhere in here. And you know what? I am okay with it. What I'm gonna do is transplant some of these once I clean up this arch. That's what I'm thinking. But will I get around to it? Who knows, because we're in the holiday birthday season. But in theory, this would be an excellent idea. I don't know if you can see them. There's more there, 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 there. Our cucumbers actually lived. I did not think these were gonna live at all, even prior to the hurricane. But they are flowering and they're doing something. There's like 3 of them, I think, that I found that were alive. So 1, 2, and then over there. I don't know that they're gonna live. My confidence level is very low on the cucumbers, but you know, I bought it, we tried it, it was a thing. So whatever. But what I could do, I don't know. What I'll do is I'll put the Cherokee black beans over on this side again and get them going. I need to clean this whole arch up because I've got old tomato plants that just need to go. The loofah, I actually have loofah growing over here. I don't want any more loofah, so I just need to make this all go bye-bye. I think one of the things I need to do in November is just clean up a lot of cleanup. Flowers sure did bounce back. Oh my goodness, they love the heat. But here we have the sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are still going in this bed. I'm thinking I'm gonna try to dig these up in November in time for our Thanksgiving time period. Over here, we've got cabbages and carrots and beets. The cabbages all of a sudden bounced back with the cooler weather, so I'm leaving them for now. Carrots are doing really good. There's actually a couple strawberry plants because I had too many for that bed over there. What else is in here? But the Heisei's not, it keeps looking like it's gonna put on peppers, but I don't see any peppers on it yet. But I keep seeing the little, you know, bud doodahs, so hopefully soon. Some mini cabbage heads maybe. Beets are going pretty good back there. More carrots, good things. Over here is the lettuce. I already did some harvesting rounds. And shockingly, this is only 10 days since I planted the bare root strawberries, and I'm getting flowers, which is crazy. And I've got a video that's gonna come out in mid-November about growing strawberries. So, and like, not the next video after this, but I think the video after that, it'll be a strawberry video. So I'll take you through how I went with like rehydrating and stuff. So if you order strawberries by the time you see this video, by the time you're getting them, that video should hopefully be out so it can help you with your whole strawberry process. So this bed overall, I think is gonna end up just being lettuces, strawberries, but they're all doing pretty good. They're filling in pretty nicely. And then over here, this was the radish pot, and they're also doing good. Look at them, they're so happy. Hooray, radishes. We also have over here a new banana. This looks smaller than normal. I feel like it has less bunches, or they're more crowded. I don't know. This looks smaller than normal, but whatever. We got another bunch of bananas. I don't know if it will be, I don't think this is gonna be done by the end of the year because it's basically got November, December, and then probably January, but it'll probably linger, so it'll be February by the time that's ready. These ones, who knows? They might be ready before the end of the year. I don't think November. Well, you know what? That one might be done by the end of November. Depends how warm it is. And this one right here is probably gonna drop another bunch this month, as long as we stay warm. So I don't know that I'm gonna get any, maybe one bunch of bananas from here. What I do think I'll be getting is this bunch of bananas. It's getting close. We're probably a week or 2 away, and these should be ready. Pretty small, but oh, they're not small. So this will probably be about 40, 45 pounds. I've had to stake it up because this has gotten such a lean from the hurricane. So otherwise, normally these grand names are really, 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 really good about being able to carry the weight of their banana bunch, but that hurricane just tipped it too much. So it gave it a little bit of support. Oh, and one thing I want y'all to go and check. If you have not been like out in your garden really paying attention, if you have mulberries, go check your mulberries and let me know if you're seeing the same thing. I had questioned last month if the hurricane, like really agitating and damaging the leaves on and stripping a lot of the leaves on the mulberries, would cause it to flower suddenly. And I am seeing with all 3 of my mulberries, I am seeing significant berry production, not like I normally would at this time of year. So go out and check, because it has been about 30 days or so, and I am seeing mulberries all over the place at a much higher rate than I would at this time of year. And that's not typical. And this is not the ones I prune. These are ones I've just basically, other than keeping them out of the walkway, I have not pruned this at all. So go check your mulberries. Let me know, did the wind stripping a lot of the leaves and kind of like roughing it up, did that also trigger the mulberry response? Because if it did, you should be seeing kind of these small little mulberries right now. So as we transition from October into November, think about the plants that you can put in place. Remember your tips for November, and be thankful for the fact that you live in Florida and you can grow food year round. So you're never behind. You just got to pick up wherever we're at for the season. And if you need help with what to grow and when to grow it, make sure you go get that free seasonal gardening guide / calendar at www.wildfloridian.net /calendar. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye.